Rachel Ayers. Joining me is Jason Wygant. We're here at the Snowshoe Mountain Ski Resort in the heart of West Virginia. It's also the 8th round of the Can-Am Grand National Cross Country Series. And Jason, this is one of the most beautiful, unique tracks we see all year.
Yeah, it's totally different than anything else we run, Rachel. Normally we're on private land, it's a farm, field, forest, something like that. This is for the public. We got nice buildings and nice ski slopes, but you know what that means? That means steep up and down hills, and also a lot of really technical cross-country ski trails and mountain bike trails that we're going to turn into a race for motorcycles today. So it's going to be real tough on these guys. It starts with the start. We're going to start on a paved road. We call it a GP start. It's going to be a lot different because we line up based on points.
And I also think that's going to work to the advantage of like Hawk and David Knight, who usually don't get, good starts. So it's really going to work to their advantage.
Yeah, because since we're lined up based on points, they're guaranteed to be in the front row, and there's only 5 riders per row. So they have to get a top 5 start, no matter how bad it is. But you know what? This track is so tough, I think a lot of the riders realize it's not all about the start. It's about the middle of the race, getting to the finish line, because you're going to get stuck out there so many times. Whatever happens at the beginning of the race, you're going to wipe this slate clean anyway.
Well, Jason, looks like it's going to be a survival day here at the Snowshoe Mountain. Let's go down and go GNCC racing.
Well, here we go. We are ready with our XC1 Pro Class, Rachel, and into the first turn we go on the pavement. And it's Glenn Carney in the FMF Suzuki, the Australian rider, getting the whole shot. There's Garrett Edmiston, David Knight, and the Yamaha boys bringing up the rear. I believe that's Mullins and Hawk. But again, the start not so critical, and a nice move already by Knight to get around Edmiston. There's our second row, and now into row number 3. It looks like a KTM rider there trying to control that one. I believe that's Russ Bobbitt. What it comes down to here is not hurting yourself on the pavement, not spinning your tires, not doing damage to your bike. There's XC2, and it's Thad Duvall getting the whole shot in his row. That's our 250F class, and they were the 4th row starting today. You see Paul Whibley here in the Parts Unlimited Boost Honda, Josh Strang and Jimmy Jarrett, the teammates on the Suzukis, and Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider Jesse Robinson coming through here. And this is what GNCC racing is really all about, that paved section. Again, you got to be conservative through there. Don't throw it away. Don't hurt yourself or your machine. The real racing happens here in the woods, and this is where this guy excels. David Knight has already grabbed the lead, and you see the bike dancing around there. A lot of tree roots. And the incredible balance of Knight. He's able to stay up on the pegs, no mistakes, no wasted energy. Meanwhile, you see Carney shifting from left to right in the racetrack, trying to find a smooth line. Obviously, going straight is the fastest line, but it is very tricky to hold the bike upright through those terrain. Oh, man, and that's Strang there, and he is getting kicked all over the place as he tries to maintain the pace of Whibley. So Knight is your leader early on. A lot of people are afraid of this guy in these rough conditions. He really excels.
Yeah, it's very similar. It looks a lot like Italy or France can be. Like in the woods, it's a lot like a British Championship enduro, but obviously a bit more rocks here. But it looks it's going to be tough without a doubt. It's going to be tough going through there for 3 hours. Like the morning race hasn't even been through there properly yet, and it's going to get chopped out. So they'll just be like, just try and save energy a bit more than anything. Anything can happen, it's rough out there, and I'll just, go at a steady pace and just see how it is, get used to the going, and just see where I'm at, I think the first half of the track's pretty fast by the way they're talking, and I've just walked a little bit now, and it's, it's one of them things you can get stuck easy and you lose like 30 seconds, or you can get through it and save like 30 seconds, so it could go anyway. I think you just got to be quite smart.
Well, here's Thad Duvall. He is riding either smart or hard, maybe both. I'm not sure. Out of that 4th row start on the smaller 250cc 4-stroke motorcycle, he has already worked his way into the top 5 overall. He is hauling through this mud. Robbie Jenks there struggling just a bit on the Red Bull KTM. That is the teammate of David Knight. Here is Whibley out of New Zealand. Whibley, traditionally a bad starter, but not so bad today. There's our man Rodney Smith. He's an XC2. He's also moved past a bunch of these riders in the 2-strokes in the XC1 class. Oh, and a rider down there. And that shows how tricky it can be. Those tree roots, it just never lets up. You're riding over that slippery stuff the entire time. Here's Brian Garahan, and he negotiates that section well. Back to our leader, Knight. And this is what everyone, again, was afraid of. He is already starting to ride this racetrack like it is his own. Here comes Barry Hawk now in the number 2 position. But Hawk's already got a pretty big deficit to make up on Knight. And look at how treacherous this is. This is not even a race. This is just a survival contest, just trying to keep the bike upright. Jimmy Jarrett, so talented in these muddy and slippery conditions, but even he has to take a little something off, so to speak, and just try to get through there. They're not even concerned with going fast. They just want to keep the bike on two wheels. One lap of the books now for Knight, and the lead is gigantic. You see the KTM people on the side of the track. They are happy. You get a nice look at this resort in the background, the big hotel rooms and luxury suites. Very nice place to hang out for the fans. For the riders, though, it is going to be downright ugly. If you're not David Knight, it's tough today. Stay with us.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Rocky Mountain ATV MC Pro Tip of the Week. My name is Aaron, and this week we're going to talk about fasteners. I'm sure every motorcycle and ATV enthusiast out there has had the problem of losing a fastener, not having the proper hardware to replace it. Well, Tusk Off-Road has made it easy with their motorcycle and ATV bolt kits. For starters, the motorcycle bolt kit contains 180 pieces, which include 6mm bolts of all different lengths, nuts, bolts, washers, cotter pins, and almost anything you need to fix your bike. Now let's move on to the ATV kit. Now this kit's a little bit bigger than the motorcycle kit. It's actually 236 pieces, and part of the reason why is along with nuts, bolts, cotter pins, and washers, this kit's actually going to have plastic rivets to repair your plastics, and it's also going to have universal lug nuts for tapered and non-tapered wheels. Now these big kits are perfect for your toolbox, but if you want something you can take on the trail, Tusk Off-Road has your solution. And that's in our smaller motorcycle specific and ATV specific bolt kits. You can just throw these kits in your pack and hit the trail. And the best part about all these kits is the price, with the large kit starting at just $29.99 and the small kit starting at just $12.99. For more information, go online at RockyMountainATVMC.com or call for a free catalog.
Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am, Rocky Mountain, Yamaha, Moose Racing, and KTM. Back to the action here, and David Knight showing his versatility. The big man from the Isle of Man, 6'4", well over 200 pounds, and this is one of the high-speed sections of the course. Now onto some pavement, heading into the pro pits, and he handles this stuff just as well as he does the very difficult, tough, technical terrain in the woods. Barry Hawk into the number 2 spot, and he knows he has his hands full today on what should be a very, very difficult racetrack.
Coming here with snowshoes, it's really unique. It's like a lot like the Wisp we had last couple of years, and I think I won the Wisp 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 5 times. So you know, it reminds me a lot of that, a lot of rocks, mud holes. So hopefully things turn out good for me today. Went out and checked the track out this morning, and there's some pretty gnarly, nasty sections out there. So hopefully I can get through pretty good.
There's Hawk. He makes it to the top of that hill. Hawk's had a little deal going with his team all year long. He's been running different facial hair at every race. Now just down to the straight-up mustache. I think they're running out of options and going back to basics. Same thing here with Mullins, who has to enlist the help of some fans to get up to the top of this hill. And that's got to be frustrating for the young man from Ohio, who is actually battling Knight for the points lead in this series. Now, this is a tradition in this class. You've got the human chain, fans linking themselves together and helping pull the rider to the top of the hill. Now here's Robinson, followed by Duvall, and Duvall on the little 4-stroke lost all of his drive halfway up that hill and still made it to the top. That kid is very good when the going gets tough. Now there's Strang and now Jarrett. And man, sometimes Jarrett does things that you've just got to raise your eyebrows to, and he made it to the top of that thing with very little wasted energy. He is so talented in this technical terrain. Now Knight going to stop in the KTM pits for the first time today. Some fresh fuel for that 450 XC, some advice from his mechanic, Sean Mundy, new Scott goggles. Business as usual, and the advantage they have is they have such a big lead. They're not in a rush at all. Although it's already strung out a bit today, and you see the same thing here in the pits. Mullins comes through in the number 2 spot. It's Barry Hawk's mechanic there, Doug Whitmer, and his wife, Kristen, and they're going to work on Barry. And you see the bad news. Now Kristen told Barry, Knight's about a minute in front of you, and he's already shaking his head. You've got to be kind of surprised at the big lead that is built up. David Knight pulling away, Let's go back to the Red Bull KTM pits to meet their young talent, Justin Williamson.
Here we are down in the KTM pits. Joining me is Justin Williamson, the newest KTM factory rider. How is it being a full-time factory rider under here?
It's awesome. You know, you got the whole crew here backing us, and you know, got tons of fans and backing, and just, you know, a fun time. You know, tearing it up with these bikes. These KTMs are working really good, and I'm just enjoying it.
Tell me a little bit about how you got started. What even made you put a leg over a motorcycle to begin with?
Well, you know, really, my dad and my uncle, you know, they used to be motocrossers up in New York a few years, you know, like, I don't know, 30 years back, 20 years back, and then I just was into the video games, you know, the typical thing it seems like a lot of kids are into, and I was getting a little overweight and stuff, and, you know, my dad and my uncle just tried to find something that got me, you know, in a little better shape, and so we got some motorcycles, started riding, and, you know, the weight started going away, and no more video games, and just one thing after another, and it led to this.
At what point did this become your career? Did you say, this is what I want to do with my life?
I don't know. You know, I ran C class a couple years down in Florida, then went to B class, won that, and that's pretty much, you know, the turning point. I thought, you know what, I've got some skill, it looks like, and but then I came to GNCCs and realized I was, you know, way down on the pole, you know. But I just worked hard, and I wanted to do it, you know, after that B championship, and you know, here I am. Obviously, you know, be a champion in the XC1 class, you know, the next 10 years or so. Got a long, you know, a good future ahead of me, and you know, that's the biggest thing. I also want to give back to the sport. You know, there's been a lot of people that have helped me out, so I want to do a lot of things. You know, have like an industry, like an entertainment company. You know, through my website, williamsracing.com, and you know, just a bunch of stuff.
Well, as you can see, Justin Williamson is a bright star under the KTM team. We look forward to seeing more from him in the future years.
Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am, Rocky Mountain, Yamaha, Moose Racing, and KTM. David Knight is now facing one additional GNCC obstacle, and you hear him yell. He's got to deal with lapped traffic now, and this should be exceptionally difficult today. This course is so rugged, so gnarly, there's going to be a lot more stuck riders out there on the track than usual. Here's Charlie Mullins. We had a chance to ask him about this track today.
I expect to do good. The rocks is definitely going to be an issue. I heard there's some pretty bad mud holes out there, so it's definitely going to be a smart race. I'm going to have to play it smart. I know David, he goes really well in this stuff, so can't count him out. Barry, he's going to be tough, but I'm just going to ride my race. I got some good rock practice in, and see how today goes and conserve all my energy for the end.
Well, Hawk conserved his energy there. He's got fans helping him out, and same thing here with Josh Trank, the 19-year-old out of Australia, and he's got his teammate Jarrett right behind him. Now, these guys live together, train together, ride together, but I don't know if they plan on getting stuck together on the same hill climb, but that's what's happened, and both of them get out with the help of some of the fans. And I'll tell you what, we could run a 10-hour Can-Am GNCC National, and the fans will be there to help these guys out. They love this kind of thing, but Knight is not giving them anything to do. He's getting through every section unscathed. This is Hawk, actually, I believe, working his way through this section. I honestly cannot tell if that's Hawk or Mullins fighting his way through those very slippery tree roots. We definitely know this is Knight. Now he's signaling something over here to his pit area. I don't know what they're going to do to his KTM machine, but he has already killed the engine, and they're looking in the machine over. And it looks to me like they're actually working over the rear shock, making some suspension adjustments. I don't know if I've ever seen that during a race, let alone by the guy leading it. That's how big the lead is for Knight. This is Mullins in the pits, and he's getting some fuel, and they don't like the goggles. That's his father there on the left. He didn't like the goggle combination they prepared. The difference between roll-offs and tear-offs, I believe. So he is frustrated now, but you can see the difference. On a normal race day, they would be in a rush, and you just take whatever you can get, but they know that Knight's lead is so big, you don't even worry about 5 or 10 seconds here and there. You've got to make sure you are comfortable by yourself. If Knight's going to throw it away, they'll take it, but I don't think anyone believes they're going to run this man down. He is all alone, and look at what the rest of this field has to face. That is Duval there in the dead center of your screen with the headlight, and he's just looking around and waiting And that is the only thing you can do in this situation. The riders' bikes are boiling over, and now he finds a shot and takes it. He had an opening, and he just pins it and keeps on going. So he is making quite a run for the overall on that little 250F. Now he's actually moving up toward the top of the overall leaderboard. You see Knight is now in front of Jarrett. Stay with us. Racer TV is brought to you by Can-Am, Rocky Mountain, Yamaha, Moose Racing, and KTM.
We are looking at one of the all-time singular most dominant rides in the history of GNCC racing, maybe American off-road racing. David Knight bordering on a 10-minute lead. Consider the fact that most of these races, they win races by 3 or 4 seconds, and that's considered a sizable gap. He's doing it in sections. Most of the track, he might be the same speed as the competition, but in a few gnarly areas, he is absolutely dominant, and that's what we expected to hear from David Knight when he came to the United States in 2007, and maybe it's all coming to fruition now. It's the last lap, and his lead just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Back in the Ampro Yamaha pits, and trouble for Charlie Mullins. We believe he has a clutch problem, and they're going to have to go to work on that bike. Let's talk to him.
I guess my clutch is gone. It's pretty rough out there, so I don't know. Hopefully.
Man, this is disaster for the points. Knight's going to win this race. There's no doubt about it, and he still makes it to the top of that hill without assistance. But Mullins, who was second in the point standings, is suddenly in big, big trouble. Now, this is how we get bikes out of the woods if the fans can't do it. You hook them up to a Can-Am quad, and you drag them up. And that's what this guy's dealing with here. And just hold on. Well, we can get the bikes to the top. Getting the riders up is a little bit more difficult. Now, look at this. Barry Hawk is stuck, and those are actually members of the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team getting him to the top of the hill. And at this point, it's no longer every man for himself. Everyone is working together to just finish this race. Man, there's Jarrett, who was in second earlier. He's now back to third, and he's got help. That is Fred Andrews' dad, so that is a senior member of the Kawasaki team helping Jarrett. And that's the Buckeye State. Those are all Ohio boys. They're helping each other out regardless of brand. Meanwhile, David Knight is going to win by nearly 10 minutes. We'll see how close Hawk can get at the end. But no doubt about it, David Knight, in absolutely dominating fashion, has won one of the toughest GNCCs you will ever find, and that's what we expected to see from the big man coming out of the United Kingdom. When the going gets tough, this guy is as good as anyone in the world, and he proved it today. He's probably the only person out here who would say, you know what, I'll run a couple more laps, I can handle it. He doesn't even look that tired because he didn't get stuck, he didn't have to push. He did it all by himself. Let's talk to our winner.
David Knight, I think that was the most dominant ride we've ever seen in this series. Did you have any competition? Were you thinking about anyone at all, or were you just riding by yourself the whole time?
Yeah, I got out front at the start, and I thought I went the wrong way. I always get mixed up with the W. I was in the X, and I turned around and I thought, oh no, I've gone the wrong way. So I waited for the other guys to come, and then going the right way. So then I got on the next track and made as much dust as I could to get a bit of a gap again, and I just cruised. It's like riding enduro, tight check, just on the pegs all the way around, and a lot of guys out there pointing good lines, so it was good enough.
How gnarly were the gnarly sections? I know there was a hill climb that even you struggled to get to the top of. How bad was the mud? How bad were the rocks? How bad was it?
Yeah, that hill was bad, you know, but I took a totally different line one lap. I just seen it and I thought I'll try that. And it was real slippery at the top, and I got out, and then the next lap I knew I shouldn't have gone that way. And there was that many guys the other way. I thought, I'll try it. There's enough people there to drag me up. So I got it, and I come off just near the top, and the boys dragged it up, and yeah. And apart from that, I just had one crash on the course, hit some black ice, I think, and went straight in my head. But you know, it was that was all I had. That was any trouble.
Yeah, no trouble for Knight, who wins by 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Hawk and Jarrett round at your podium, and Thad Duvall, that's the tie for the best performance ever on a 250F.
I'm not happy with second, but I'll take second. After about the second or third lap, I crashed pretty hard and hit my back on a rock, and at that point I thought I was going to have to just basically sit and watch the race, and I made a lot of mistakes throughout the day, and I'm happy to get up on a podium with second, but man, it's just disappointing for Knight to beat us by that much.
All right, let's take a look at how it all transpired here in West Virginia. David Knight, we've heard all about his extreme enduro credentials, and when the going is like this, steep, slippery, rocky, he's hard to stop. The only other rider that had a really good day today was Thad Duvall. You just saw him go by. He started in row number 5 on a 250F. At one point worked his way all the way up to second overall on the track. The rest of his crew, well, they had to get dragged to the top of hills by fans, by ATVs, even by other teams, as everyone pitched in to help these riders get through this very, very difficult racetrack. But what it all comes down to was David Knight in control all day long. Barry Hawker, with a little help from his friends, ends up second today. And David Knight is able to extend his points lead by taking this win, and bad luck for Charlie Mullins. For Rachel Ayers, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.
The Grand National Cross Country Championship is sanctioned by the American Motorcyclist Association. Rights, Riding, Racing. AMA. Join now. Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN.